The glass doors of Cascade Biotech's headquarters seal shut behind me with a hiss, locking me into a battlefield disguised as a corporate lobby. I'm Clara Evans, and tonight I'm walking into a den of wolves, my own family. My heart pounds like a drum in the dim rain-streaked glow of Seattle's South Lake Union, the city's pulse humming beyond the windows. In my satchel, a folder holds my secret weapon, proof that Horizon Innovations, my company, owns 51% of their precious empire. They think I'm just a freelance writer, a nuisance to be swept aside. But as I near the boardroom, where my cousin Ethan's smug voice already echoes, I'm ready to shatter their world. The air crackles, heavy with the storm I'm about to unleash. Hope you enjoyed this story. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear where you're watching from. Now, let's continue with the story. I pause at the edge of the boardroom, my navy blazer, tailored, sharp, a silent defiance, catching the muted glow of Lake Union's ripples through the towering windows. The Cascade Biotech office is all sleek lines and cold ambition, a glass and steel monument to my family's legacy. Inside, Ethan stands at the head of the mahogany table, arranging folders with the meticulous arrogance of someone who believes he owns the room. He doesn't look up. "Clara?" he says, his tone clipped. "Break room's down the hall. This is for key players only." His words sting, a practiced jab, but I keep my expression smooth, a mask I've worn for years to hide the wounds they've left. Aunt Sylvia, her pearl necklace glinting like a warning under the harsh fluorescence, glances over with a smile that's more blade than warmth. "Let's keep distractions to a minimum, dear," she says, her voice dripping with patronizing sweetness. This isn't the place for freelance writers. The label they've pinned on me since I walked away from Cascade 5 years ago burns, but I let it slide. They don't know my writing gig is a front for Horizon Innovations, the shadow empire that's been quietly buying their company out from under them. They don't know I'm the one holding the cards. I shift my satchel, feeling the weight of the folder inside. Proxy votes, contracts, proof of Horizon's 51% stake in Cascade, secured through a web of shell companies they never bothered to notice. Ethan smirks, oblivious. "Hope you like stale coffee and plastic chairs," he says. "You might be sharing space with the janitor tonight." His chuckle is a grating little victory lap, but I offer a polite smile, my fingers brushing the satchel's leather. An hour ago, Lila, my assistant, texted to confirm the final 4% acquisition. They're about to learn who really runs this show. Sylvia rises, smoothing her silk blouse, and points down the hallway. "Break room's that way, Clara. We've got serious business to handle." Her eyes gleam with the confidence of someone who's underestimated me for too long. I nod once and turn toward the corridor, not as the forgotten niece they see, but as the majority shareholder of everything they're fighting to keep. The irony is sharper than the Seattle rain needling the windows outside. The break room is a far cry from the boardroom's polish. It's a cramped, dim box, reeking of burnt coffee and neglect, with a flickering coffee machine that buzzes like a trapped wasp. A wobbly plastic table sits cluttered with crumpled napkins and half-empty sugar packets, a perfect reflection of how my family views me. Irrelevant, shoved aside, forgotten. I settle into a cheap chair that creaks under me, the kind you'd find in a budget diner, and open my laptop. The screen's glow cuts through the gloom, and I pull up Lila's latest email. "Proxy votes locked in. Harper's ready to play his part. Stock's down 2%. You good?" My fingers hover over the keys before I reply. "Perfect. Let them dig their own grave." Through the thin drywall, Sylvia's voice filters in, bright and rehearsed, pitching a deal with the Nexus Genomics, a $100 million biotech firm. I nearly laugh. "Mr. Harper, Nexus's CEO, called me yesterday to seal our agreement, directly with Horizon, not Cascade. They're chasing a deal I've already won, shaking hands with a phantom they can't see." The thought sends a spark of adrenaline through me, but I keep it locked down, sipping bitter coffee from a chipped mug that tastes like defeat. But not mine. My phone buzzes. Leela again. "Press is circling." Leak the article now? I glance at the break room's peeling wallpaper, a faded relic of Cascade's carelessness. 5 years ago, I stood where Sylvia is now, pitching bold ideas to pull Cascade into the future. Then I found the files: faked environmental reports, wage theft in overseas labs, bribes hidden in vendor contracts. I took them to Uncle Richard, expecting him to act. He just shrugged. "That's how you win, Clara," he said. "If you can't stomach it, you're not built for this." So I left, taking my mother's inheritance and her words: "Build what matters, even when no one's watching." I did. Horizon Innovations grew from a rented desk to a 5-story beacon overlooking Puget Sound, a company rooted in my mother's vision: ethics first, always. Now, Cascade is hemorrhaging. Clients are bailing, stocks are tanking, and the EPA is knocking. They don't know their savior is sitting in their break room, ready to rewrite their legacy. The door swings open, and Megan, Richard's third wife, glides in, her Gucci heels clicking like a countdown. She's barely my age, draped in designer excess, her voice sharp as she snaps, "Clara, keep it down, your typing's annoying." I smile, calm but edged, and close my laptop. She doesn't know her lavish life, propped up by Cascade's dirty money, is on borrowed time. "Of course," I say, my tone soft but laced with something she misses. She leaves, her perfume lingering like a bad decision. Sylvia's voice rises, gushing about strategic alignment with Nexus. I lean back, the chair creaking, and check my phone. Lila's text: "Harper's ready to drop the act, your call." I reply, "Let it play out." "Not yet." The fluorescent light flickers above, casting jagged shadows. They think they're in control, but I'm the one holding the strings, and I'm not pulling them yet. The break room's fluorescent light hums above me, a relentless drone that matches the pulse in my temples. I sit in the creaky plastic chair. My laptop's glow, the only warmth in this forgotten corner of Cascade Biotech's headquarters. The chipped mug of coffee in my hand tastes like regret, but not mine. Through the thin wall, Aunt Sylvia's voice rises and falls, pitching a deal to Nexus Genomics she thinks will save her sinking empire. I smirk, my fingers hovering over my keyboard. They don't know I've already won that deal, that Horizon Innovations, my company, holds the keys to their future. My phone buzzes. Lila, my assistant, texts, "Press is ready to drop the first article. Just say when." I lean back, the chair groaning, and let my mind drift to 5 years ago, when I walked away from this family and their lies. I was 30 then, standing in this very building, though it felt like a different world. Cascade Biotech was my home, my legacy, built by my mother, Eleanor Evans, before she married into this family and let them claim her brilliance as their own. I was their rising star, presenting bold ideas in boardrooms like the one Sylvia's commanding now. I wanted to make Cascade a leader in ethical biotech, a company that didn't just chase profits, but changed lives. Then I found the files, buried in a server I wasn't supposed to access. Falsified environmental reports claiming our labs met EPA standards when they didn't. Wage theft from workers in our Jakarta facilities, their hours stretched thin to cut costs. Bribes to suppliers, tucked away in consulting fees to dodge audits. It was a house of cards, and I was naive enough to think I could fix it. I took those files to Uncle Richard, my heart pounding with the hope he'd share my outrage. He sat behind his massive desk, his gray eyes cold as the Puget Sound outside, and barely glanced at the evidence. "That's how you win, Clara," he said, his voice flat. "If you can't stomach it, you're not built for this game." I stood there, frozen, as the man who'd raised me after Mom's death dismissed everything I believed in. Sylvia was there too, her smile tight, saying nothing. Ethan, barely out of business school, laughed it off. "Grow up, Clara, this is the real world." I didn't argue, I didn't scream. I just walked out, the weight of their betrayal heavier than the files in my hands. My mother's inheritance was my lifeline. She'd left me enough to start over, along with her words, etched in my memory. "Build what matters, even when no one's watching." I did. Horizon Innovations began in a rented office by the waterfront, a single desk with a view of ferries cutting through the mist. I poured everything into it. Every sleepless night, every calculated risk. I built a team that shared my vision. Ethics first, innovation second. No shortcuts, no lies. While Cascade rotted, hiding its sins behind polished reports, Horizon grew. We acquired startups, secured patents, and built a network of ethical suppliers. By the time we bought our first stake in Cascade, they didn't even notice. They were too busy scrambling to keep their clients, their stock, their illusion of control. Now, sitting in this break room, I'm not that naive 30-year-old anymore. I'm 35, and I've built something they can't ignore. My phone buzzes again. Lila. Harper's getting antsy. He wants to know if he should keep playing along. I type back. Let him string them along a bit longer. Make them sweat. Mr. Harper, Nexus Genomics CEO, knows the truth. He signed with Horizon yesterday, not Cascade. Sylvia's pitching a deal that's already mine, and the thought sends a spark of satisfaction through me. I sip the bitter coffee, letting the burn ground me. Cascade is bleeding. Clients jumping ship, stocks dipping, the EPA sniffing around. They think Nexus is their lifeline. But I'm the one holding the rope. The break room door swings open and Megan, Richard's third wife, struts in, her perfume a cloying cloud of jasmine. She's all designer labels and sharp edges, her manicured nails tapping her phone as she glares at me. Clara, your typing's louder than a jackhammer, she snaps. Some of us are trying to focus. I close my laptop with a deliberate click, meeting her eyes. Sorry, Megan, I say, my voice soft but laced with steel. Didn't mean to disrupt your… What is it you do here again? Her lips purse, but she doesn't answer. Just grabs a bottled water and leaves, her heels clicking like a ticking clock. She doesn't know her lavish lifestyle, propped up by Cascade's dirty money, is about to crumble. Sylvia's voice grows louder through the wall, all fake enthusiasm about synergies with Nexus. I open my laptop again, pulling up a live feed of Cascade stock. It's down another 1.5%, the market sensing blood. Lila's email pops up. First article's queued. Cascade Biotech faces EPA probe amid ownership shakeup. Ready to publish? My fingers hover, the weight of the moment settling in. 5 years ago, I walked away because I couldn't stomach their lies. Now I'm back to dismantle them. I type, hold off, let Harper set the stage. The fluorescent light flickers, casting jagged shadows across the room. It feels like a warning, but I'm not the one who should be afraid. The break room's stale air presses against me, but I don't flinch. I've spent years preparing for this, building Horizon into a force they can't ignore. My mother's words echo again. Build what matters. I'm doing that, not just for her, but for every worker Cascade exploited, every client they lied to. I glance at my phone, the time ticking closer to the moment I step out of this shadow. Sylvia's voice falters, and I catch Mr. Harper's measured tone cutting through. I'm not here for that proposal, Sylvia. The room beyond the wall goes quiet, and my pulse quickens. He's playing his part, just as we planned. I stand, smoothing my blazer, and check my reflection in the coffee machine's scratched chrome. My eyes are steady, my jaw set. This isn't just about revenge. It's about redemption. Cascade Biotech was my mother's dream before it became their playground. I'm here to take it back, to rebuild it the way she would have wanted. The door to the break room feels heavier now, like a gateway to something bigger. I grip my satchel, the folder inside a ticking bomb. They sent me here to keep me out of sight, but they're about to see me clearly for the first time. Harper's voice rises, calm but firm. I'm here to meet Horizon Innovation's CEO. Sylvia stammers, I'm sorry, what? This was arranged through Cascade. Ethan laughs a brittle sound. That's absurd. We'd know if someone was buying us out. Richard's voice cuts in, sharp and defensive. Who do you think you're dealing with? I can almost see their faces. Sylvia's lipstick cracking, Ethan's smugness faltering, Richard's fists clenching. They're unraveling, and I haven't even stepped into the room yet. Lila texts, stocks down 3%. Articles ready to go live. Your call. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the screen. The break room's walls feel like they're closing in, the air thick with the weight of what's coming. I could let the article drop now, let the press tear into Cascade's lies, but I want them to feel the ground shift first. I type back, wait. Harper's setting the table. Let's serve the main course. The fluorescent light buzzes louder, a fitting soundtrack to the chaos I'm about to unleash. Megan sweeps back into the break room, her phone pressed to her ear, oblivious to the storm brewing. No, I need that reservation tonight, she hisses, then glances at me. Clara, seriously, close that laptop, it's distracting. I smile, slow and deliberate, and slide the laptop shut. Of course, Megan, I say, my voice calm but edged with something she doesn't catch. She doesn't know her world, built on Cascade's rotting foundation, is about to collapse. She flounces out, her voice fading into the hallway's echo. Through the wall, Harper's voice sharpens. Horizon now holds a controlling interest in Cascade Biotech and several of your partner firms, including mine. Silence falls, heavy and stunned. Sylvia's voice cracks. That's impossible. Ethan sputters. We'd have known. Richard barks. This is nonsense. I stand, my heels clicking on the linoleum, and adjust my satchel. The folder inside feels like a loaded gun. I've waited 5 years for this moment, and it's finally here. And I move toward the door, my hand steady on the handle. The break room's dimness clings to me, but I'm ready to step into the light. They thought they could bury me in here, dismiss me as a nobody, but I'm not their forgotten niece anymore. I'm Clara Evans, the woman who owns their company, and I'm about to remind them who's really in charge. I push the door open, the boardroom's glow spilling into the hallway, and take my first step toward rewriting their legacy. My legacy. The boardroom doors swing open, and I step into the light, my heels clicking like a metronome on the polished wood floor. Every head turns, the air thick with stunned silence. Sylvia's lips part, her perfect lipstick cracking at the edges. Ethan's gold-plated pen slips from his fingers, clattering onto the mahogany table. Uncle Richard's gray eyes narrow, his knuckles whitening around the armrests of his chair. I'm Clara Evans, the niece they shoved into the break room, and I'm about to rewrite their world. Maybe we should restart this meeting, I say, my voice steady, cutting through the tension like a blade. It's poor form to leave your majority shareholder in the break room. I set my satchel on the table with a deliberate thud, the sound echoing in the glass-walled room overlooking Lake Union's shimmering waters. The Seattle skyline glitters beyond, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside. Sylvia stammers. Clara, what are you talking about? Her voice is a mix of confusion and condescension, as if I'm a child who wandered into the wrong room. Ethan laughs, a brittle sound. This is a joke, right? Yeah, you're a freelance writer. Richard says nothing, but his gaze bores into me, searching for a crack in my calm. I open my satchel and pull out the folder, its weight a silent promise. Horizon Innovations, I say, sliding it across the table. Now owns 51% of Cascade Biotech, acquired through shell companies and trust networks you never noticed. I connect my laptop to the boardroom screen, and charts flare to life. Stock trends, supplier contracts, client agreements, all pointing to Horizon's control. We also hold majority stakes in 3 of your 5 core suppliers and exclusive contracts, with 80% of your top clients, including Nexus Genomics. Mr. Harper, Nexus's CEO, leans back in his chair, a faint smile playing on his lips. He's known the truth since our call yesterday, when we finalized our deal. Sylvia's face drains of color. That's impossible, she whispers. Ethan sputters. You're saying you bought our company? You? With your little blog? I meet his eyes, unflinching. My little blog, I say, is a 5-story innovation hub on Puget Sound, Sterling Tower, to be exact. It casts a shadow over this building, literally. Richard finally speaks, his voice low and dangerous. If this is true, we'd have known. We'd have stopped it. I advance the slide, revealing a timeline of Cascade's sins. OSHA violations, wage theft in Jakarta labs, falsified EPA reports. You were too busy covering this up, I say, pointing to the screen. While you buried bribes in vendor contracts, I was building something that works. Horizon's profit margins are 30% above industry average because we respect our workers, our vendors, and the law. The room is a graveyard of silence. Sylvia's hands tremble as she clutches her folder, her pitch to Nexus now a useless script. Ethan's smirk is gone, replaced by a slack-jawed stare. Richard's jaw clenches, but there's a flicker in his eyes, something like fear or maybe respect. I slide neatly labeled folders across the table. Inside is Horizon's proposal, I say. We're prepared to inject $200 million to stabilize Cascade, but it comes with terms, full operational authority. The Evans family keeps 20% equity, but all executive decisions go through Horizon's board. Sylvia's voice cracks. You're destroying your own family. I lean forward, my eyes locked on hers. This isn't destruction, it's redemption. I'm fixing what you broke. Harper clears his throat, his voice calm but firm. She's not bluffing. Horizon holds 51%, and with proxy votes, Clara controls this company. She's within her rights. Ethan slams his hand on the table. This is insane! You're a nobody, Clara! I smile, serene. Funny how a nobody owns everything you thought was yours? My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from Lila. Press just published? Cascade Biotech faces EPA probe amid ownership shift. Stocks down 4%. I keep my face neutral, but inside I'm electric. The world is starting to see what I've known for years. I glance at Harper, who gives a subtle nod, ready to back me up. The boardroom feels smaller now, the glass walls closing in on my family's crumbling empire. They sent me to the break room to keep me invisible, but I'm the one they can't look away from now. Megan bursts through the doors, her Gucci scarf fluttering like a flag of surrender. What's going on? She demands, her voice high-pitched, more reality TV than boardroom. I heard yelling from the hallway. Richard snaps, not now, Megan. But she plants her hands on her hips, glaring at me. Clara, what are you even doing here? This is a serious meeting. I tilt my head, my voice calm. I noticed. That's why I'm here. To make it honest. Her eyes narrow, but she doesn't push further, retreating to a corner with a huff. I turn back to the table, advancing the slide to a devastating summary. Declining revenue, surging legal risks, vanishing clients. The choice is yours, I say. Sign the proposal and let Horizon rebuild, or let Cascade collapse under the weight of your lies. Richard's fingers drum on the table, his silence louder than any outburst. Sylvia's lips quiver, and Ethan looks like he's been punched. They thought they could keep me in the shadows, but the light's on me now and it's blinding. The boardroom is a pressure cooker, the silence so thick it feels like it could shatter the glass walls. Richard leans forward, his voice low, almost a growl. You planned this, he says, his eyes boring into mine. All of it. The shell companies, the client acquisitions, the votes. I meet his gaze without flinching. I learned from the best, Uncle. You taught me about power plays. I pause, softening my tone. But Mom taught me how to lead. He flinches at her name, Eleanor Evans, his sister, the conscience of this company before they stripped her vision from every agenda. Ethan tries to rally, his voice shaking. You're bluffing? You work out of some rented closet by the waterfront? I advance the slide, showing Horizon's headquarters, a sleek 5-story beacon overlooking Puget Sound, complete with a rooftop lab and a private floor for global partners. That's one of our research hubs, I say. My actual office is in Sterling Tower. You might have noticed it. It's the one blocking your view of the Space Needle. The room gasps, a collective intake of breath. Even Harper raises an eyebrow, impressed. Sylvia clutches her folder like a lifeline. We'll find another investor, she says, but her voice cracks, betraying her panic. I shake my head. Check your phones. Screens light up around the table, a headline flashing across every device. Cascade Biotech faces EPA probe amid ownership shift by Horizon Innovations. The stock ticker shows a 5% drop since the market opened. Lila's text buzzes again. Second article's ready. Cascade's hidden violations exposed. Go time, I type back. Hold, they're breaking. Richard's face is a mask of stone, but his hands tremble as he opens the proposal folder. $200 million, he murmurs, reading the terms. And you want full control? I nod. To save Cascade from itself. Your creditors are circling, the EPA is preparing subpoenas, and your clients are signing with Horizon. You need us more than we need you. Ethan laughs, a desperate sound. You're firing your own family? I lean forward, my voice clear. I'm expecting you to earn your seats like every Horizon employee. Megan, still hovering in the corner, pipes up, her voice shrill. What about me? My lifestyle depends on this company. I turn to her, my smile tight. Your lifestyle's been audited, Megan. Horizon flagged your expense reports. Those little getaways with your consultant weren't as discreet as you thought. Her face goes white and she sinks into a chair, clutching her phone like it might save her. Richard shoots her a look, but his focus snaps back to me, calculating. I click to the next slide, a timeline of Cascade's failures, 10 years of OSHA fines, wrongful terminations, offshore labor abuse. This is your legacy, I say, my voice steady but laced with pain. I'm offering a chance to rebuild it, but it starts with accountability. Sylvia's eyes glisten, but she doesn't speak. Ethan mutters under his breath, "This can't be legal." Harper interjects, his tone calm but final. "It's legal. Clara holds 51%, and with proxy votes, she controls this board. The question is whether you'll work with her or against her." The room dissolves into chaos. Whispers, vibrating phones, darting glances. Richard stands, his presence commanding despite the cracks in his armor. "You've got nerve, Clara," he says, almost a whisper. "But you're not wrong." He picks up the pen, his fingers steady now, and signs the proposal. Sylvia hesitates, then follows, her hand shaking. Ethan resists, his face red, but Harper's nod pushes him over the edge. He signs, muttering, "This isn't over." I collect the folders, the weight of their signatures grounding me. The boardroom feels different now, the power shifted, the air charged with possibility. I glance at Harper, who offers a quiet handshake. "Well played," he says, his voice low. I nod, but my eyes drift to Richard, who's staring at the signed contract like it's a death warrant. It's not. It's a new beginning, but they don't see it yet. Leela texts, "Contracts are filed. Press is live. Stock's stabilizing, but they're shook. Next move?" I reply, "Meet me at Sterling Tower." "We've got work to do." I close my laptop, the screen's glow fading, and step back from the table. The Seattle skyline sparkles outside, a reminder of what's possible when you build with purpose. They sent me to the break room to keep me small, but I've just claimed the whole building. And this is only the start. The ink on the contracts is barely dry, but the air in Cascade Biotech's headquarters feels lighter, as if the weight of years of lies has started to lift. I stand in the boardroom, the Seattle skyline shimmering through the glass walls, Lake Union's waters reflecting the first hints of dawn. My family, Sylvia, Ethan, Richard, left in silence after signing over control to Horizon Innovations, their faces a mix of shock and resignation. I'm Clara Evans, the woman they dismissed as a freelance writer, now the majority shareholder steering their sinking ship to shore. My phone buzzes with a text from Lila, my assistant. "Legal's filed the contracts, staff's buzzing, ready for the rebuild." I type back, "Let's get to work." The break room is behind me, but the real battle begins now. Horizon's takeover is swift, surgical. I waste no time dismantling Cascade's toxic practices. The first week, I fire 3 suppliers tied to wage theft in Jakarta, replacing them with ethical partners vetted by Horizon's team. I meet with employees, lab techs, researchers, janitors, who've been ignored for years, their voices drowned out by profit-driven decisions. In a packed town hall, I announce new policies, fair wages, transparent audits, and a sustainability task force to meet EPA standards. The room erupts in cautious applause, but I see hope in their eyes, a flicker of trust I'm determined to earn. Back in my office at Sterling Tower, Horizon's headquarters, I watch ferries glide across Puget Sound, their wakes cutting through the morning mist. The glass-walled space hums with purpose, whiteboards scrawled with plans, my team moving like a well-oiled machine. Leela strides in, her tablet glowing with updates. "First clean audit scheduled for next month," she says, her voice sharp with excitement. "But we've got a problem. Ethan's been emailing a competitor, trying to leak Cascade's old client contracts." I raise an eyebrow, not surprised. Ethan's pride was bruised in the boardroom. He's not ready to let go of his old power. I lean back in my chair, the leather creaking softly. "Let him try," I say. "We've locked down those contracts. He's just digging his own grave." Lila nods, but her eyes narrow. "He's not the only one. Some mid-level managers are resisting the new policies, grumbling about too much change. Want me to handle it?" I shake my head. "I'll meet them myself. They need to see who's leading this." My mother's words echo in my mind. Build what matters, even when it's hard. This is the hard part, rewriting a company's soul while its old guard fights to keep the rot. Sylvia, to my surprise, is different. She shows up at Sterling Tower the next day, her usual polish softened by a nervous energy. "I enrolled in an ESG certification course," she says, clutching a coffee cup from a local roastery. Environmental, social, governance, it's what you're doing here, right? Her voice is tentative, like she's testing new ground. I nod, hiding my shock. It's a start, I say. Horizon's about accountability. If you're serious, you'll fit in. She meets my eyes, and for the first time, I see a spark of something real. Not the aunt who dismissed me, but a woman trying to change. The weeks blur into a frenzy of action. I overhaul Cascade's supply chain, ensuring every partner meets ethical standards. I launch a mentorship program for junior staff, pairing them with Horizon's innovators. The EPA sends inspectors, and for once, Cascade's labs pass with flying colors. But resistance lingers. At a staff meeting, a manager named Greg, loyal to Richard's old regime, challenges me. "You're gutting our profits for feel-good policies," he says, his voice loud enough to turn heads. I stand, my voice calm but firm. "Profits built on lies don't last. Horizon's margins prove ethics pay. If you can't adapt, the door's open." He sits silenced, but I feel the room shift, some skeptical, others inspired. My phone buzzes late one night as I review reports. "Layla, Ethan's leak failed. Competitors backing off, but he's furious. Watch your back." I sigh, rubbing my temples. Ethan's defiance is a thorn, but it's Sylvia's quiet effort that surprises me more. She's been shadowing Horizon's sustainability team, asking questions, taking notes. It's a small step, but it's real. I think of Mom, who believed people could change if given a chance. Maybe Sylvia's proving her right. The boardroom feels different now, less like a battlefield and more like a workshop. I meet with department heads outlining Cascade's new mission: innovation with integrity. The stock stabilizes, climbing slowly as clients return, drawn by our clean audits and transparent practices. But I'm not naive. Change this big takes time, and not everyone's on board. I glance at the break room door as I pass it, a reminder of where I started. They thought they could bury me there, but I'm building something bigger, something Mom would be proud of. I'm exhausted, but it's the kind that comes from purpose. Lila walks into my office, her tablet under her arm. "First quarterly report under Horizon's up 10% from projections," she says, grinning. "You're doing it, Clara." I smile, but it's bittersweet. Rebuilding Cascade means confronting my family's legacy. Mom's dream, warped by greed. I'm not just saving a company, I'm saving her vision. And I'm not done yet. The Seattle rain drums against Sterling Tower's windows, a steady rhythm that matches the pulse of Cascade Biotech's transformation. 6 months have passed since I claimed control, and the company is unrecognizable. Clean audits, soaring employee retention, and a sustainability seal from the EPA have replaced years of scandal. Clients who fled are signing back on, drawn by Horizon's reputation for integrity. I stand at the head of Cascade's revamped boardroom, the same one where they sent me to the break room, presenting our first ethical earnings report. The room is full, staff, investors, even a few reporters, but my family's faces stand out. Sylvia, Ethan, Richard, each grappling with their new reality. Sylvia's transformation is the most striking. She's traded her polished aloofness for a quiet determination, leading Cascade's sustainability task force with a competence I didn't expect. At a recent meeting, she presented a plan to reduce lab waste by 40%, citing her ESG certification with a pride that felt genuine. "I didn't get it before," she admits to me later, over coffee at a South Lake Union cafe. "But you're right. Ethics do pay." I nod, a flicker of warmth softening the old hurt. "Keep it up," I say. "Mom would have liked that." Sylvia's eyes glisten, and for a moment we're not enemies, just family. Ethan's path is rockier. After his failed leak to a competitor, he sulked for weeks, skipping meetings and dodging my calls. Lila caught him trying to undermine Horizon's new policies, whispering doubts to old guard managers. I confronted him in his office, the Seattle skyline gray behind him. "You can fight this, Ethan," I said, "or you can be part of it. Horizon's not going anywhere." He glared, but something shifted. Last month, he took a role leading Cascade's community outreach, using his charisma to rebuild trust with local partners. At a charity event, I watch him charm a crowd, talking up our mentorship program. It's not redemption yet, but it's a start. Richard's change is slower, more reluctant. He stepped down as chairman but stayed on as an advisor, his pride warring with reality. At a board meeting, he challenges my decision to prioritize employee benefits over short-term profits. "You're risking everything," he says, his voice gruff. I slide a report across the table, showing a 15% profit increase tied to higher retention. "This is how you win long-term," I say, echoing his old words. He reads the report, his jaw tight, then nods. Later, Lila tells me he's been mentoring junior staff, sharing stories of Mom's early days at Cascade. It's not an apology, but it's close. Megan's absence is notable. After I exposed her questionable expenses, she left Richard, claiming she needed a fresh start. Last I heard, she's selling her designer wardrobe online, trying to rebuild without Cascade's safety net. I don't feel triumph, just a quiet relief that she's out of the way. Leela, meanwhile, has stepped up, earning a promotion to Horizon's deputy director. She's my rock, handling logistics while I focus on strategy. At a late-night meeting, she hands me a news article, Cascade Biotech's turnaround, the woman who rewrote a legacy. "You're trending," she says, grinning. I laugh, but my chest tightens. This is Mom's legacy, too. The boardroom fills with applause as I finish my presentation. Cascade's stock is up 20%, and we've secured a new partnership with Nexus Genomics, thanks to Mr. Harper's trust in Horizon. I catch Richard's eye, and he offers a rare nod, his expression softer than I've ever seen. "You're doing what Eleanor would have wanted," he says later, his voice low. I swallow hard, the mention of Mom cutting deep. "I learned from her," I reply. He looks away, but I see the weight of her memory in his eyes. I walk through Cascade's revamped office, now bright with natural light and open workspaces. A silver seal on the wall reads, "Certified by Horizon Ethical Enterprise." It's not just a company, it's a promise kept. But there's still work to do. Ethan's outreach is gaining traction, but some employees remain skeptical. Sylvia's pushing for bolder sustainability goals, and I'm backing her. Richard's mentoring is helping, but he's still learning to let go. I'm not just rebuilding a company, I'm rebuilding a family. And it's messier than any balance sheet. My phone buzzes as I step into the elevator. Lila. "Harper's offering a new deal, wants you at the table tomorrow." I smile, typing back. "Set it up." We're just getting started. The doors close, and I catch my reflection in the polished steel, tired but unbroken. They tried to bury me in the break room, but I built a legacy instead. And it's only the beginning. I stand at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office in Sterling Tower, the Seattle skyline unfolding before me like a canvas of ambition and redemption. The Space Needle pierces the dusk, its lights flickering against the deep indigo of Puget Sound. I'm Clara Evans, no longer the niece they banished to the break room, but the woman who reshaped Cascade Biotech into something my mother, Eleanor Evans, would have been proud of. A year has passed since I revealed Horizon Innovation's control over their empire, and the transformation has been nothing short of a revolution. My reflection in the glass shows a woman who's fought for every inch of this view, and I'm not done yet. The office hums behind me, a quiet rhythm of purpose. My team moves with precision, their voices a low murmur as they finalize reports for tomorrow's board meeting. Lila, now my deputy director, steps in, her tablet glowing with the latest numbers. "Cascade stock hit an all-time high today," she says, her grin infectious. "And the press can't stop talking about your sustainability seal?" I nod, a quiet pride swelling in my chest. The silver plaque on Cascade's headquarters, certified by Horizon Ethical Enterprise, is more than a symbol. It's a promise kept, a testament to the legacy I've built from the ashes of my family's mistakes. Sylvia has become an unexpected ally. She's no longer the polished aunt who dismissed me with a smirk. Leading Cascade's Sustainability Task Force, she's pushed for net zero lab emissions and fair trade supplier contracts, earning respect from even the most skeptical employees. Last week, she presented at a national biotech conference, her voice steady as she credited Horizon's vision. My vision. Over coffee afterward, she looked at me, her eyes soft. "I didn't see you before, Clara," she said. "I do now." I smiled, the old hurt fading. "Keep pushing, Sylvia," I replied. "Mom would have loved your fire." For the first time, we felt like family, not foes. Ethan's journey has been slower, but he's found his place. After his failed attempt to sabotage Horizon, he threw himself into community outreach, using his charisma to rebuild Cascade's reputation. At a recent event in South Lake Union, I watched him connect with local leaders, pitching mentorship programs for underserved youth. He caught my eye across the room, offering a sheepish nod. Later, he admitted, "I thought you were tearing us down." I was wrong. I didn't gloat. "You're doing good work, Ethan," I said. "Keep it up." He's not fully redeemed, but he's trying, and that's enough for now. Richard's change is the quietest, but it cuts the deepest. He stepped down as chairman but stayed on as an advisor, mentoring young researchers with stories of Mom's early days at Cascade. At a recent board meeting, he handed me a faded photo of Mom in a lab coat, smiling beside a prototype bioreactor. "She'd be proud," he said, his voice rough with emotion. I swallowed hard, clutching the photo. "I learned from her," I replied. He nodded, his eyes distant, and I saw the weight of his regret. He's not the uncle who dismissed me anymore. He's a man learning to honor his sister's legacy. Megan's gone, her departure a quiet footnote. After her expenses were exposed, she left Richard and Seattle, chasing a new life with less baggage. I don't miss her drama, but I wish her well. Lila, on the other hand, has become indispensable. Her promotion to deputy director was unanimous, and she's taken Sterling Tower by storm, streamlining operations and keeping me grounded. Yesterday, she handed me a news article, Cascade Biotech's Renaissance, How Clara Evans Redefined a Legacy. "You're a legend," she teased. I laughed, but the words hit home. This isn't just my story, it's Mom's too. The boardroom at Cascade is different now. Gone are the sterile walls and tense silences. Open workspaces buzz with collaboration. And every meeting starts with a roundtable. Every chair equal, every voice valued. Today, I sit with Sylvia, Ethan, and Richard, reviewing Cascade's latest ethical metrics: 30% profit growth, 95% employee retention, and a new partnership with Nexus Genomics, sealed by Mr. Harper's trust in Horizon. The numbers tell a story of transformation, but it's the faces around the table that matter most. Sylvia's confident, Ethan's engaged, and Richard's reflective. We're not just a company, we're a family, rebuilt on trust. I step to the window, the Seattle rain a soft patter against the glass. The city's lights pulse like a heartbeat, reminding me of what's possible when you refuse to stay in the shadows. They sent me to the break room to keep me small, but I built an empire instead. Cascade Biotech isn't just surviving, it's thriving, a beacon of what happens when ethics and innovation align. And I'm not done. Horizon's next project is a global biotech coalition, and I'm leading the charge. I turn to the camera, imagining the YouTube audience watching. Women like me, who've been underestimated, told to stay quiet. If you've ever been pushed aside, sent to the break room of your own life, this is for you, I say, my voice steady. Your story matters. Drop a comment, share a moment when you stood tall despite the odds. Subscribe to remind yourself, you're stronger than they know. Let's keep rising. I pause, letting the words settle. This isn't just about me or Cascade. It's about what we can build when we refuse to be silenced. Lila steps in, her tablet tucked under her arm. "Harper's on the line," she says. "He's ready to talk coalition details." I nod, glancing at the photo of Mom on my desk. Her smile feels like a blessing, a reminder of why I fought. "Send him through," I say, turning back to the skyline. The Space Needle glows, a symbol of what's possible when you reach higher than they expect. I sit at the round table, Sylvia and Ethan joining me, Richard lingering with a quiet pride. The future is ours, and it's bright, not because of what we were given, but because of what we built.